Okay. 2. Can I type in chat? Yes. Can I use emotes? Yes. Yes, everything's good. Cool. Okay. There we go. Now that we can start officially. This is the first official podcast, and we are waiting on Nate to call in here in a second. I'm actually calling myself here. And then we can get started. The topic for tonight is Star Wars. More specifically, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and The Mandalorian. So yeah, I'm going to call Nate here in a second. And we're going to get this. Here we go.
Your call has been forwarded to
He must still not be ready. Okay. Just waiting on Nate. Hey, viewer, you can type hey in the chat. Let me know you're here. We're waiting on Nate right now to get everything started. I'm not sure how long he's going to be, so I'm just kind of chilling out here waiting for him to get here, and then we can start. Hello. We're waiting on Nate. Oh boy. There he is. Hey.
Hey.
You finally ready to get this show on the road?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me...
How would you do this the whole car ride?
Yeah, I guess we could just do the podcast.
Yeah, we can do it right here. I'm driving.
Yeah, it works, I guess.
And then I'll kind of just tell you I'm going in to go get the food. I'll just kind of stall for a little bit there, and I'll come back in.
That's cool. All right, so welcome everybody. We're finally here. We're ready. The first official podcast is now starting. We're gonna try and do these every Tuesday and Friday. Different themes. Sometimes it'll just be a random theme, like the one I have planned for Friday is kind of just a random discussion. Tonight, my guest is Nate. There is nobody I know that is a bigger Star Wars expert than Nate. So we're going to be talking about the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian. And we're probably going to do a couple more podcasts in the future talking about different trilogies. But tonight we're going to be talking about the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian. So starting off, let's talk about the final season, the first arc of the final season. What did you think about the first arc?
The first arc, it was pretty good. They gave us the Bad Batch, the clones that were genetically superior to the others. You had what was the name? You had Wrecker. You had
Yeah, they introduced all the new characters as well as bringing back Echo.
Yes.
And I think
that was pretty good too.
Yeah, go ahead.
see how they brought him back and was able to bring him back into the Clone Wars and show that he's, still alive, and how the droids were able to use, dead bodies as intel.
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really great way to start off the new season. That the first 4 episodes felt like they just belonged on Cartoon Network, because it just felt like they could have. The whole season really felt like it could have just been airing on Cartoon Network. It didn't feel like Disney tried to do anything different from the original series. It just felt like episodes that never aired. That was my second favorite arc. We'll talk about the final arc, which I think we both agree that the last arc is the best of the series.
Yes.
But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about with the first arc. I guess we could just move right on to the second arc. Now, I know you're not the biggest fan of the second 4 episodes that involved Ahsoka.
I don't necessarily hate the episodes or dislike them. I'm just saying it's probably the least liked arc of the last season, because this kind of brought the 2 new characters of Trace and Rafa into the series. With, it's like, hey, they're here. This is who they are, and so just kind of give it a better story or background of what. Why they are, how they get to Coruscant, how they are there, what do they do, and kind of, hey, they're spice runners, pretty much.
I think the arc would have worked a lot better if the season wasn't limited to 12 episodes, just 3 arcs. I feel like if they did a final, big season for the last thing, maybe 22 episodes like the other ones, and they did that arc, I think it would have worked a lot better. But I think it was poorly received because people knew that they were only getting 12 episodes, and they had to watch 4 episodes that dealt with Ahsoka in the underworld. I thought they were really, really, really good episodes, but I could see where you're coming from. They didn't fit very well into that final season, because the first arc was pretty dark, and the second arc, the third arc, the last arc, it was extremely dark how they concluded things with that 4 episode run. I definitely think.
The last episode of the arc was pretty good, because they started showing the Mandalorian and how it kind of switched over from Ahsoka being with 2 girls to, hey, she's out here with the clones now and taking over Mandalore.
Yeah, see,
pretty cool.
That's what I was thinking. The final episode where it connects to the last arc, I really like that, and it brings her back to Skywalker and Obi-Wan. Now, that's a perfect segue into arc 3, the final arc of the new season, bringing it in heavy. We started with the Battle of Coruscant. As soon as Ahsoka gets back, we're immediately lifted off. Obi-Wan and Anakin, they leave, they go to save the Chancellor, and we're thrusted into the Siege of Mandalore through the eyes of the Clone Wars. What did you think about the first part of the last arc where the Siege of Mandalore started?
Yeah, I liked how they kind of showed where, in the original 3 movies of, you have Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, you don't see Ahsoka at all, but then you have the Clone Wars, and you see Ahsoka everywhere. So it kind of gives a good story of where she was during, Revenge of the Sith, pretty much. If she was over in Mandalore with Captain Rex.
Right, and I really liked the scene they did where it's pretty much a shot for Revenge of the Sith, with Mace Windu talking about how he senses a plot to destroy the Jedi, and where the movie cuts off, Ahsoka walks in. So it's if the movie would have just showed that little bit extra, we would have saw Ahsoka. I thought that was really well done. Really great way to incorporate her. And now we get to talk about the last 2 episodes of the third arc, where Order 66 is officially announced, and Rex's turn. What did you think about the last 2 episodes?
When Chancellor Palpatine, gives the order for the clones to start executing Jedi, the way Rex kind of fought it a little bit, and then Ahsoka kind of just realized what was going on, and then it kind of just jumped that scene where she's fending off opponents for her life, and she's, being Ahsoka and trying to find a way out of it, and then trying to find, who's to blame for it, and, what is ultimately going on,
Yeah. Yeah, why are they all turning?
When Order 66 was, put into place, the Jedi were hit, they were blindsided pretty much, and they had no idea what was going on. Why the people they fought next to for however many years, how many battles, are just also shooting back at them now. And now those downs are caught in the crossfire, now both sides are shooting at them, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, and I thought that was really well done too. Like she kind of felt that something off was happening, and then it just kind of hits you when like all the clones start turning. And I like what you were saying with Rex when he's trying to fight it, and he mutters those last words, "Fives, find him," and he just starts shooting at her and then it starts playing the music for Revenge of the Sith. I thought that was really, really well done how they did that.
Yeah, that was a really good transition from, just being the ship from going through hyperspace normally to something, something's happening. And she feels it through the Force, and kind of just goes to place and kind of just, puts her shit at her. She finds her way out, and realizes, hey, Maul was right, and then she has to release him.
Yeah, and I liked that she was still trying to do things her way during the last couple episodes. Like, she was still trying to save as many clones as possible, even though they were trying to kill her. I think that was a very Ahsoka thing to do. That's why she ends up with the yellow lightsabers, because she is absolute good. And, like, they're all trying to kill her, and she's still just trying her best just to not harm as many of them as possible. She manages to completely save Captain Rex, too, by pulling out his inhibitor chip, which I thought was really good. So now we got to talk about the last part of the episode where Darth Vader finds her lightsaber. What did you think about the last part of that episode?
I think it was kind of, it was kind of eerie and kind of leaning towards, what's to happen in the other animated series for Star Wars Rebels.
Yep.
When Vader fights Ahsoka at Sith Temple. It kind of shows that, in the movies, the first thing happens when he comes up there and starts speaking to living his life through his robotic suit and all that stuff, that he, the first thing he realizes he lost Padme. And then he finds a lightsaber and realizes, oh, just lost Ahsoka too.
Do you
so he kind of lost everything.
Do you think, like, branching off of the Rebels, do you think that one of the things I was reading online is that the series finale is really good? Of course, it's really good. It's an amazing finale to the Clone Wars. But do you think it wasn't as effective because of Rebels? Do you think it would have been more effective if the series concluded before Rebels came out? That way they could have, like, whenever you're watching those final episodes, you don't know if Rex and Ahsoka makes it out or not, or Maul, you know what I mean? Do you think it would have been more effective?
Yeah, I completely agree with that, but Disney had other plans.
Yeah, Disney did have other plans. I'm glad they got to bring it back, though, to conclude the story that they started.
Before listening a little bit, Ahsoka leaves the order and all that stuff, and you guys, before they came last season, it's kind of a dull ending. Like, this long, animated series, and ending before last season was like, that's it.
Yeah, I agree with that. So my next thing I wanted to talk about is, out of everything in the Clone Wars, what is your favorite episode or story arc?
Geonosis Part 2.
Geonosis Part 2?
Yeah, either Geonosis Part 2 or the invasion of Umbara.
Okay. What do you like about the Invasion of Geonosis Part 2? That's one with the worms, correct? The Legacy of Terror and all that.
Yes.
Okay.
My favorite part is how before when the episode kind of starts, that little part right there, it kind of starts with them, kind of taking a couple knocks back to the movie, the Attack of Clones, kind of saying, I came here the first time and I probably destroyed the factory and come back here again.
Mm-hmm. I really like that arc too. The return to Geonosis. I thought it was really, really well done. And that's one of the longest arcs in the Clone Wars too, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it goes. I think 8 episodes. You have the first 3 are for the battles, and then after that, I think there's some more of the worms and some other stuff after that.
Yeah, I really like the worm stuff. It reminded me of a couple old horror movies, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, stuff like that. They did a really good job incorporating horror into the second part of that Geonosis arc.
Yeah, it kind of took away what people think of Geonosis is, just all out war between clones and droids. It kind of takes them to a different side. The bugs using the different things to fight off the clones with.
Mm-hmm.
And they use the worms.
Yeah. I was thinking before I started the podcast about my favorite arc. And in all honesty, it's got to be the beginning of season 2. The first 3 or 4 episodes, The Rise of the Bounty Hunters, where they have Cad Bane stealing the holocron. And then they have that awesome fake out death in episode 2 or 3 with him, where he's on that ship, and the clone shoots him, and he fakes the clone's voice. He's like, "No, sir, I got him." And the next episode starts with Anakin, and he's following the clone, and he's like, this clone's bleeding green, and you realize that Cad Bane survived. I love that arc, and I love how it concludes with Palpatine trying to steal the children of the Force. It was a really good arc, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, now I gotta ask you, since we talked about the arcs that we both really like, what is your least favorite Clone Wars arc?
Or
episode?
I would have to say probably the. Shit, this is a good question. I would probably have to say. I don't know. I would really look back and think that through. I have no idea.
See, I was thinking about mine, and mine's pretty much like any of the episodes where they let Jar Jar take complete control of the story. I don't know why they didn't learn from The Phantom Menace, but there's a couple of those episodes that are such a drag for me to get through, or some of the ones where they really focus on politics in season 1. But in all honesty, there really isn't a complete bad arc, in my opinion. I like pretty much everything that the Clone Wars did. That's why it's one of my favorite TV shows. I thought every season they did their best stuff. Now there are weaker arcs, like we were talking about earlier, the Ahsoka arc in the new season. That's weaker compared to the other 2, but it's still a good story.
That's what I was kind of thinking at first. Is there's really no bad arc. There's a few bad episodes, but there's no bad storyline. It's all starts pretty good or ends pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Now, the final question I have about the Clone Wars, discussion thing we can talk about before we start The Mandalorian is, do you think that there's a possibility for Disney Plus to roll out maybe not maybe another season, but maybe more episodes, like they could do another Lost Missions thing, because they had a lot of other episodes written and planned for Cartoon Network. I do believe another season and a half they had written for Cartoon Network, and those animatics are out there. I've seen the one where Cad Bane duels Boba Fett, and there's a bunch of other ones. Do you think that one day Disney will, because of the success of the Clone Wars, they might try to release the Lost Missions? And if they do, is that something you want to see?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
See, if they did do that, I would really, really hope that they do the final arc with Cad Bane and Boba Fett, like another bounty hunter arc. I think that would be really, really good.
I do too.
Is there like an arc that you think that you've seen the Clone Wars? So are there any like stories or like character stories, like people that you've met in the Clone Wars that you want to see another arc of them doing stuff? Maybe Ventress or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. I would like to see like maybe a Ventress or maybe like a Grievous one.
Another Grievous one would be awesome. Some of my favorite episodes are the ones with Grievous, and in my opinion, I think he was really underused in the Clone Wars. But that's because they couldn't breach the plot. Most of the episodes had Anakin in them, and Anakin and Grievous don't meet face to face until Revenge of the Sith. So they really couldn't, incorporate Grievous too much into the story as much as they probably would have liked to. That's why I like the episode with Kit Fisto and his Padawan so much when they go to the lair of Grievous and things like that. That was a really, really good episode.
Yeah, I like that episode. It was kind of taking to Grievous's lair.
I thought it was really good.
And, Grievous is on his way back, and he comes there and he realizes, wait, something's not right here. And then he realizes, that it's Jedi and it's pretty much what you would say is his home, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. I'm with you. I'd like to see more stuff for Ventress or Grievous, because, I haven't seen all of Rebels. Does Ventress ever make an appearance in Rebels?
No, I don't believe so.
So pretty much her character story is open-ended. There is no ending to her story, officially.
I think there's an episode, later versions of the Clone Wars, or later season, that I think she dies with her sisters, her night sisters. I
thought she escaped and she dueled with Obi-Wan. She dueled against Darth Maul. Does she die?
Yeah, I think she does.
I'm looking.
I think she does. I think either Count Dooku or Palpatine kills her.
I'm looking. No, she does not die in the Clone Wars.
She doesn't?
No, it doesn't look like she dies in the Clone Wars. I'm looking. I didn't think she did. Let me look at this episode. Yeah, no, she's it looks like she lives. And there is no, there's like comics and books and stuff that like continue her story, but it looks to me like she lives. And like there's books and stuff that depict her death, but it looks like it says she died on Christopsis. Well, let me look. Maybe I'm just overlooking something. I'm looking. See, there is this part where Dooku does kill her, but I don't know if that's in the Clone Wars or if that's one of those animatics. If it is, it's like it must be an episode of Lost Mission.
Yeah, it must be one of those episodes we haven't gotten.
Well, let me see here. Moving on, we could start talking about The Mandalorian now, since we've pretty much covered everything I had written for the Clone Wars. What did you think, all in all, like as a whole, about the first season of The Mandalorian?
I think it was pretty darn cool. It was, just something different from the actual, what people think of Star Wars is, just about the Skywalkers, all that stuff, and it kind of just gives a different. I get like a feel of like how the bounty hunters were in Star Wars. and he had like a different time period for that too. You know, with between at the end of the Empire and kind of that blind area between the Empire and the First Order, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was a great first live-action show for Star Wars. I think Jon Favreau did a really good job with the entire first season. I didn't really dislike an episode at all. I mean, I thought the one with the where the Jawas like take apart his ship or whatever, I thought that one was a little bit slower than the rest. But I thought the whole season as like a whole was really, really good, really well made.
And it was like really well done.
What were some of the things that you, some of your likes or dislikes about the first season of The Mandalorian? Some of the things you really, really liked how they did it, or some things that you didn't like how they did it?
I didn't like how they did the opening, how they sort of randomly, you know, just kind of started off, you know, with he's just on a random planet. I think it was, I don't remember what the planet name was when he started, kind of started on a random planet. He got one of his things, and then that was kind of it.
Yeah, with the episode kind of ending with that reveal of Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
No, I thought that reveal was really well done, and Jon Favreau, I think he did a really, really good job of. Disney lost millions of dollars because he told them not to create any toys or anything for Baby Yoda. He wanted to keep that a complete surprise, and I think he did a really good job in keeping that a surprise until the very end of the first episode when Baby Yoda was finally revealed.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that. Yeah, they did a good job with that, with Baby Yoda and everything. They also did a good job with kind of keeping the realizing that, you know, there's still, after the second Death Star blew up and Chancellor Palpatine, you know, allegedly died, it kind of kept it. They realized that there still was, you know, a little bit of the Empire left over. You know, there was still, you know, warlords and all that stuff, and major leaguers in the Empire were still alive, and they still had, you know, loyal troopers on their side.
Yeah, and I really liked that. I really liked that they showed what was left of the Empire and stuff like that, and who was still around.
Yeah.
Do you have to run in to get your food?
Yeah.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. We'll take a short little break here.
All right.
Cool. We're just taking a small break until Nate gets back from getting his food. Oh, everybody's joining in. The second Nate left, everybody came. He's coming right back. He had to run in to get his food. We've just to touch base with everybody that's just now joining. We just finished talking about Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the final season, and we touched on a couple of the arcs that we really liked from the past 7 seasons that they've done. And then we started talking about The Mandalorian. We haven't gotten too far into that discussion. We just pretty much hi Dad, sorry I just got here. It's okay. Nate's coming right back. We were just talking. Oh, love you too, Matt. We were just talking about the Clone Wars. Now we're talking about I'm in the shower. Now we're talking about the Mandalorian whenever he gets back. So we're just kind of patiently waiting for that. I think the first podcast, after we had some issues at the very beginning there with the stream starting and everything, I think it ended up, it's turning out pretty well. I can't wait to try it Friday with Discord. I think Discord will be much better. Me and Nate were going to use Discord, but he had to go down the road for a minute to pick up food. So we ended up calling in. But I think Discord will work a lot better for the stream. What were the problems? It wouldn't let me stream at first, and it was like it let me go 4 minutes, and then it cut out. It did it twice, and then the third time I did it, it let me go for 30 minutes. I don't know if that's like YouTube's way to like check if I'm making pornography or something. I honestly, I honestly don't know. So, how are you doing tonight, Matt? You have a question about the Mandalorian? It might be something I can answer. That's kind of odd. I hope it works better Friday. I hope so too, but I think it will, and I think Discord will work a lot better for this stream if I'm being honest with you. But after the first couple issues, it's smooth sailing from here. I don't know if it was just YouTube making sure I'm like not like ISIS or something. Would you like to see them take the next seasons of the show stories? That's actually it's funny you ask that question. That is the second to last thing we're going to be talking about with the Mandalorian. So it's funny you asked that question. I'm good but exhausted. Maybe going to stream tonight. I'll join. After Nate gets back, we're going to talk about the Mandalorian for probably another 20 minutes. Then I'm probably going to end this. But yeah, that is something we're going to be talking about, Sam. Towards the end of the podcast, we're going to talk about where we want to see the next seasons of the show. Because I know me and Nate have some certain predictions with some certain characters in the Mandalorian. So that'll be interesting. Sounds good to me. I'm going to stay for the end. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Matt. I guess this way you can get a kind of a taste about what to expect Friday with Miranda. What's the name? I can't find it. Got to link Zach to the podcast here. Please don't echo, God. Please, Almighty, please don't echo. There we go. Go, Michael. Gager. Is that Bria's boyfriend? Is that Gage? What's up, man? Oh, Nate's calling back. Hey, man, what's up? Hello? Can you hear me okay? Nope, guess not. Awesome. Here we go. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Hang on.
Okay.
Let me tell you that one more time.
Okay. Nate's having some issues. Yeah, we're about to continue talking about the Mandalorian here, Gage. Whenever Nate's phone decides it's going to work. Discord would have worked 100 times better. If he didn't have to pick up Chinese food, this podcast would have been complete smooth sailing. Welcome back. Is third time the charm?
Yes, got it now.
Ah, cool. The stream count, like as soon as you ended the call, the streamer count went from 1 to 5. As soon as you ended the freaking call, I have biggest small penis. Hey Zach, what's up, man? Okay, so where were we? We were talking about things that we really liked and things that we didn't really like so much about the Mandalorian. Now, we talked about the reveal of Baby Yoda, and we both agreed that that was really, really well done.
Yeah.
Now, let me think here. Was there any other things that you really, really liked how they approached it or how they did it in The Mandalorian?
Yes, I like how they approached the rebellion as the new republic.
Yeah, I like that too.
The new order around the galaxy.
I like that, and I really, really liked the little groups of the stormtroopers that they had around. I thought that was really, really well done. like it was believable. You know what I mean? That there were like these warlords that had a control over a certain amount of stormtroopers. Nothing crazy, but it really it kept an interesting antagonist to the show. What do you think? What do you think about the performance from Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian? Do you think he was the right man for the job?
Yes.
I completely agree.
Perfect person.
He was absolutely incredible in the first season. I thought he did a really good job. And I was worried when I first saw the stuff for the Mandalorian. I was worried that the guy they got to cast, whoever it would be doing his best Boba Fett impersonation the whole time.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be trying to be, different.
Yeah.
Not all the Mandalorians are the same.
Right. And I really liked that. I really liked how they did that. Zach in chat says, "I wish we got to see your handsome face," in reference to you.
Oh.
Okay, so my next question I wanted to talk about, what is, out of all 8, what is, oh no, not him. Oh, the Mandalorian. Well, we get to see his face for a little bit at the very end, just for like one scene. We get to see his face for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, you see his face and the droid goes to heal him, and that's about it.
Yeah, and speaking of that droid, I thought Taika Waititi did a really good job. I thought he was great. I just want to admire Pedro. Dude, he is a good looking guy. I'll give you that. He's in Kingsman: The Golden Circle, and he is really good. I never got around to watching The Mandalorian, but I'm gonna have Miranda watch all the Star Wars soon, so I'll probably just watch it as well. That's a good thing. You can skip the new trilogy if you want. That's optional. We'll be doing a podcast where we talk about the new trilogy, though. That is on the itinerary.
Yeah, the new trilogy is.
We'll save that for the new trilogy video that we do. But what is your, out of all 8 of them, as I was saying, what's your favorite episode of the Mandalorian?
My favorite episode would be. It would probably have to be the one where I think it's Tatooine.
Oh yeah, the one where he's back at Mos Eisley. Is that the one you're talking about? The return to Tatooine and Mos Eisley?
Eisley, and he meets the lady at the hangar, leaves his ship with her to have her droids repaired, and he goes off to find a job to pay off his ship being repaired and kind of, get him some money under his belt.
See, my favorite episode is the first one. I know you didn't care too much for his introduction, but I really like how they just show him as this like grizzled guy. He doesn't feel anything. He doesn't care, and he's with that IG droid, and he meets oh god, what was the guy's name that he kept repeating? "I have spoken." What was his name? I can't remember what it was. He meets this absolutely wacky character, and like he helps the Mandalorian and stuff. I thought it was a really good episode. It ends with the first reveal of Baby Yoda. I thought it was little green boy. I thought that was great. I thought that was really well done, and like to me, the whole show is trying to live up to that moment where they first show Baby Yoda. But in my opinion, I don't think they ever really got close. Well, there was a couple episodes that were really good. Don't get me wrong. There wasn't an episode in the entire run that I disliked. Like I was telling you a few minutes ago, I thought the one with the Jawas was a little slow compared to the rest. But I thought they were all really good. But that first episode was absolutely exceptional. To me, a really great show has to have a really great pilot. And it's okay if the pilot's the best episode of the show. Like Better Call Saul. In my opinion, the pilot of that is the pilot of Better Call Saul is the best episode of the show so far. Wootini. Okay, now we get to talk about the mysterious man. Now, I want to hear your theory. What episode was that? Episode 5 or 6? That was the Tatooine episode. Who do you
That
think?
was my episode, the post-fight episode.
Yeah. Who do you think the man was that was following the Mandalorian? Who do you think that was?
I'm gonna say probably either like maybe like some type of Mandalorian, like that was like kind of that kind of breed, that warrior that was kind of following him around, kind of seeing what he's doing. Maybe he's staying true to what a Mandalorian is. Keep the mask on, keep the helmet on, that's the same mask, and staying true to the code of those warriors, what they live by. Or it could either be like you said, either Boba Fett or Cad Bane.
See, I don't think it's gonna be Cad Bane, just because I think Disney is gonna do that another season of the Clone Wars, like the Lost Missions, and they're gonna do a finale for Cad Bane's character. But I do think that was probably Boba Fett, because if I'm not mistaken, it's probably Jabba the Hutt. If I'm not mistaken, they did they recasted the guy that played Jango in Attack of the Clones. So I'm guessing Boba Fett, that was him. He escaped from the Sarlacc pit. I don't know why he would be following the Mandalorian, though. Do you think... Oh, that's a good question. My answer to that question, Matt, is no. But I'm going to ask Nate and see what Nate's opinion is on it. Matt asked, do you think The Mandalorian is better than The Clone Wars?
No, not. It could. Maybe with more seasons, it could be. Maybe one day. But as of right now, no.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that as more seasons and more episodes come out for The Mandalorian, I think that it's going to become a really, really good show. But
it'll definitely, with more seasons, more episodes, and more of a story to it, it'll grow into a bigger, better show, and it will probably be one of the main, stories for Star Wars.
Yeah, I think it'll be some of the best Star Wars out there, kind of like the Clone Wars ended up, for me anyway, being like the best Star Wars out there. I like the Clone Wars more than I like the movies, personally, because the Clone Wars, in my opinion, is so well done. Every season of the Clone Wars, every arc, I loved it. You can leech off my Disney Plus. Hit me up after the podcast, and I will give you the stuff for it. You can leech off it. I'm paying $7.50 a month for it, and I never use it. You may leech. But the thing with that is, the Clone Wars, to me, like, it might be better. The Mandalorian might become better than the Clone Wars in terms of the plot, in terms of the story, things like that. But for me personally, I don't think it ever will be, because it's just a nostalgia thing for me. Would you agree with that, Nate? Like the nostalgia for the Clone Wars?
Yeah, probably. It's kind of partly my childhood, pretty much growing up.
Yeah.
I'd come home on Fridays, on Fridays,
Friday night, 8 p.m.
Or a basketball game. Me, I would come on Fridays and I'd come home and watch that instead of, going out.
Oh, Matt, every season of the Clone Wars is on Disney Plus. Every season. Everything's on there. Yeah, I love the Clone Wars. I agree with you, Nate. Every Friday night, 8 p.m., bam, it'd be there. And I loved it. I was there from the very first episode of the Clone Wars. I thought, wow, that was really good. And I ended up starting with the Clone Wars when the film came out. And when I was younger, I thought the film was really good. But, like, as I've gotten older, it's aged poorly. But, like, the Clone Wars, man, even just the first few episodes, it's so good. And, like Nate, we forget, like, we're coming back to the Clone Wars. But one of the best arcs of the Clone Wars is, like, right off the bat with the Malevolence, General Grievous's ship that he has. I thought that's a really strong arc to start with.
One of the first, kind of major ships that kind of. Because at first, clones were not winning the war per se. Separatists were, but they had so much utility with the Malevolence. They had all their factories, all stuff. They said so much more than what the clones had. Because early in the war, the clones were still, still in large production.
I agree with that, and I thought that was a really, really great way to start the series. Well, we probably got to get back on track here. Back to the Mandalorian. We could talk about the ending here. I don't want to touch on it too much because there's a couple people in chat that haven't seen it. But Sam did ask about where we think the story is going to go. Where do you think the story could go in season 2 now that we know that that character has the Darksaber?
I can see him, or that character, hunting down, trying to just regroup, get himself back to where he was before, get some troopers under his, or his people help, or under his belt, and trying to find Mandalorian again, and trying to stop them and trying to stop him from keeping control of Baby Yoda, and pretty much try to get him back and try to use him for what he wanted to use him for the first time before the Mandalorian was back. And then after that, I see on Mandalorian side, I can see him kind of taking the child and kind of trying to find someone who could kind of help him, take care of him, kind of show him, put him on the right path so that he can grow up, be what kind of what Yoda was.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think, me personally, I think that we're going to get into the casting for season 2 here in a minute. But I think that he might end up hiring Boba Fett to maybe track down the Mandalorian. I think that's a plot point because we do know that Cal Kestis is going to appear in the show. Zach says, I have a strong feeling that Cal Kestis is going to appear in the show.
He might. I wouldn't doubt it, but if he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised either. Cal Kestis was kind of one of those storylines that everyone in the Star Wars community doesn't really know about or knows of. Maybe hey.
I think
Star Wars is a pretty good game, but
well, the thing is, when they hired the guy to play Cal Kestis, Cameron Monaghan, they didn't just hire a voice actor; they modeled him after himself. They modeled Cal after the voice actor. So there is a high possibility that could happen, and I think he would do it too because he has a history of being in TV series. He's in Shameless. He's been in Shameless for almost 10 years. He was even the Joker in Gotham. He was in Gotham for several years, like random appearances as the Joker. So I think it's very possible. That's a really good topic there, Zach. I think it's entirely possible for him to make a transition to the Star Wars television lineup and reprise his role as Cal Kestis. I think that would. I could see that coming. Maybe not for a season or two, but I mean, with season 2, like they've got a ton of casting like already. They cast a young actress. I forget her name. She's not young, but they cast an actress to play Ahsoka Tano. They got somebody to play Boba Fett. And they got somebody else. Who did they get to play somebody from Rebels, Nate? Do you remember who they're bringing from Rebels?
Yeah, it was some wrestler from WWE. They were going to have her play Sabine Wren from Rebels.
So they're bringing in a ton of characters that are alive after the Empire. I don't.
Yeah, a lot of characters from the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
And a lot of
I don't know how they're going to incorporate Ahsoka Tano. Because don't they kind of leave it that she probably dies to Vader?
No, she kind of wanders off into her own path again.
Okay. See,
wanders off.
I haven't seen all of Rebels yet. I've just seen big moments. But yeah, so it's entirely possible for her to be there. It's possible for Boba Fett to escape the Sarlacc pit, I guess. I mean, he does in the comics, so I can see him doing it in The Mandalorian. And I think also, Zach, yeah, I think it's entirely possible that Cal Kestis could make his way into The Mandalorian. And that he made some good points, too, like that the characters in Fallen Order were modeled off the faces, like even Saw Gerrera. Like, they did a really good job with that. And if they wanted him to look a certain way, they would have made sure that and just had Cameron do the voice. But they modeled him after Cameron, which makes me think, Disney usually plans stuff. Disney usually plans stuff in advance, so that makes me think that there's a good possibility we might see Cal Kestis at some point. Well, Nate, is there? Oh, good.
I was going to say that's probably a good place to end to that, kind of touch on possibly what's going on, what's to happen in season 2 with The Mandalorian, and kind of, touch on everything with the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that, I hope anyway, and think that Disney might be doing another season of the Clone Wars, maybe some Lost Missions, some of the animatics that could wrap up Cad Bane's story fairly nicely. Maybe have some stuff in there for Ventress, General Grievous.
Yeah, it can kind of, per se, tie up loose ends on Clone Wars side of things, kind of, and those other stories they started back then.
And it's entirely fine for them to do that, because part of the Clone Wars, like the first 5 seasons, it doesn't take place in chronological order at all. Like, you have to Google if you want to watch it in chronological order. It doesn't hurt you to watch it like the way it's on Disney Plus, season by season. But there's actually like an official way to watch it, because the episodes don't take place in order. So
no, they kind of funny hop around with different.
Oh yeah, they do.
But like the way they put it, so it's pretty good.
And like the first episode you're supposed to start off with is Cat and Mouse, the first episode with Admiral Trench, season 1, episode 15, because Ahsoka isn't in that episode. And then you watch, I believe you watch one more episode, and then you watch the film, and then you start the series, and it bounces around a lot. So I think it's entirely possible for Disney to do more Clone Wars, but just not have it in chronological order, just have it like a lost mission here or there. I think that would be great. I think Dave Filoni would be on board, and I think the animators would be on board to do more of the Clone Wars. And I think the audience would receive it really well, because this final season was really good. As we were talking about earlier, the first arc was really good. The second arc, we kind of agree to disagree on that. Like it is, I agree with you, it is weaker. I still really liked it. But the third act, like the third arc entirely, is amazing. It is amazing Star Wars, that third act. It just feels like a movie, a Star Wars movie.
It shows you, that last book kind of shows you Ahsoka's side of Revenge of the Sith, pretty much.
Yeah, and I really like that.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that since we've talked about what we kind of want to see in season 2 of The Mandalorian, and what we talked about with the Clone Wars, I think that that about wraps it up. Me and Nate are, if Nate still wants to do it, we're still planning on doing a few more Star Wars podcasts in the future. I'd like to do one for each trilogy where we discuss the 3 films in it. Maybe we could even do one discussing the 3 other films they did, the animated Clone Wars and the Matt said hell yeah, he wants to see it. We did great. I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm really glad to hear it. Hopefully next time we'll be on Discord, so it'll be easier to hear it.
Yeah.
I want to see more Hondo.
Yeah, I would gladly help you do those episodes, maybe help explain out, the 3 trilogies of the actual movies, and maybe we can do one on Rebels and maybe not.
Yeah, I have to watch Rebels. I have to watch Rebels, and then we could do it. I want to watch Rebels. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of episodes for that.
Zach said something really cool. He said he wants to see more Hondo. Remember the pirate? That would be really cool. I'd like to see more of him. They could do something with that. That'd be cool.
He was kind of a good character. I liked him. He was kind of, out there, but he was good.
Yeah, he was a good anti-hero. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. But like we were Googling it, and apparently they said Ventress dies, but it's like I'm not sure if it's canon or not. So they could do whatever they wanted. You know what I mean? Like, it's Disney. They've been erasing canon and doing shit all the time. It's Disney. They're gonna make what they want canon. But yeah, I think we'll have 3, 4, maybe even 5 whenever I watch Rebels. More Star Wars podcasts that are going to be spread out about the coming months. I think the next one we're going to do, I'd like to start with the prequels, because I know me and Nate just watched those not too long ago. We revisited them, so they're pretty fresh in our minds. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Nate. It was really good having you for the first episode.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be the first honorary guest.
All right, man. I'll talk to you here in a couple minutes. Probably going to play Destiny or something. I'll let you go here.
All right, I mean, I'll see you later.
See ya. Okay, I'm really glad you all came out for the first episode of the official podcast. I actually had a lot of fun. It was kind of slow at first, but when everybody started coming, it blew up. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. Friday, I am anticipating Matt and Miranda, if they're still free for Friday, as my guests. We have a set list of topics we're going to talk about. And Zach, at some point, he's in the chat. I would like to talk to him about mob films. There's a couple more I want to watch before we do that podcast. Mean Streets is one he told me I should check out. And I want to watch The Godfather Part 2 for sure before we do that. Look for more podcasts with Nate. And, you're free for Friday? Perfect. We'll do Friday 9 to 10. And I'm looking at doing a podcast with Kane Kildow as well. So, yeah, there's plenty of podcasts coming up in the future every Tuesday, Friday. And let me think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Tomorrow, I might post something in the morning. I might not. Might be the day after. Just depends on when I am able to record my film review. I do have work tomorrow, so it just depends. I want to thank you all for coming out for the first official podcast. It was a great first podcast. Thank you, Sam. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too, and I look forward to doing this several more times in the future. So, everybody have a good night. If you have Twitch, check out Matt's live stream. If you want it, I do believe everybody in chat has me added on Snapchat. Just hit me up and I'll send you the link. All right, well, thanks everybody for coming out, and have a good night.